Lesson 19, Part 1. Hi boys and girls, welcome back. My name is Mrs. Jeffries, and today we're going to be talking about story elements, helping us track our thinking while we're reading and identify those key elements in a story. When we look at stories, we can think of 4 really big key elements. The first one being setting, where and when a story takes place. The second one is who are the characters, the people, the animals, or things that are in a story. The third one is what's the problem? What goes wrong in the story, or what's the challenge? And last, we think about the solution, how the problem is fixed or solved. Today I'm going to be reading a story that I already know you probably know. It's called The 3 Little Pigs. And with this story, we're going to be identifying the 4 story elements. In Part 2. Okay, we're going to be reading The 3 Little Pigs by James Marshall. Once upon a time, an old sow sent her 3 little pigs out in the world to seek their fortune. "Now be sure to write," she said, "and remember that I love you." The first little pig met a man with a load of straw. "I know," said the little pig. "I'll buy your straw and build a house." "That's not a good idea," said the man. "Mind your own business, thank you," said the little pig. And he bought the straw and set about building a house. It took him no time at all. Very soon, a lean and hungry wolf happened by. Pig was just about his favorite food in the world. So he knocked on the door and said, little pig, let me come in." To which the pig replied, "No, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin." This annoyed the wolf to no end, and he said, "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in." "Go right ahead," said the little pig. So the wolf huffed and he puffed and he blew the house in. And he gobbled up the little pig. The second little pig met a man with a load of sticks. "I've got it," said the little pig. "I'll buy those sticks and build a house." "I'd think twice about that," said the man. Stop. The second little pig met a man with a load of sticks. "I've got it," said the little pig. "I'll buy those sticks and build a house." "I'd think twice about that," said the man. "Oh, pooh," said the little pig. "What would you know?" And he bought the sticks and he went to work building a house. "Very pretty," he said. No sooner had that little pig settled in his pretty house than the wolf happened by. He was still hungry and he said, little pig, let me come in." To which the little pig replied, No, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin." The wolf didn't care for that at all. He said, "I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in." "Ha, ha, ha," said the little pig. So the wolf huffed and he puffed and he blew the house in. And he gobbled up the little pig. Now the third little pig met a man with a load of bricks. "These bricks will make a fine, sturdy house," said the man. "Capital idea, my good fellow," said the little pig. So he bought the bricks and set about building a house. It took him quite a bit of time, but it was well worth it. "Nice and solid," said the little pig. "Nice and solid." But no sooner had the little pig moved in than he noticed the wolf loitering about. And the wolf, who was still hungry, said, little pig, let me come in." To which the little pig replied, No, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin." Well, the wolf had heard that before, and he said, "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in." "Oh, don't do that," said the little pig. But the wolf huffed and he puffed and he huffed and he puffed until he was quite blue in the face. The house stood firm. "I'll try another approach," muttered the wolf. and he put on his most dazzling smile. "Little pig, I was only teasing," he said. "By the way, I hear tell that Farmer Jones has the most scrumptious turnips. Shall we go pick a few?" "Oh, I'm much too busy now," said the little pig. "What about tomorrow morning?" "Excellent," said the wolf. "I'll come for you at 6. The next morning, the little pig got up at 5, hurried off to Farmer Jones's turnip field, picked a basket full of scrumptious turnips, and dashed back home. When the wolf arrived at 6, the turnips were already boiling in the pot. "Sorry, I couldn't wait," said the little pig. The wolf tried not to show his displeasure. "No harm done," he said. "By the way, there is a lovely apple tree down in Merry Meadow. Shall we go help ourselves to pick a few apples?" "I must cook my turnips," said the little pig. "Let's meet there tomorrow morning." "Splendid," said the wolf. "Shall we say it at 5? The next morning, the little pig was up at 4 and went off for the apples. It took longer than he'd expected to reach Merry Meadow, and while busy gathering apples in the highest tree, he saw the wolf approaching. "Do try one of these," he called down, throwing an apple as far as he could. When the wolf chased after the apple, the little pig shimmied down the tree and made it safely home. The next day, the wolf came again. Really, he was quite put out. "There's a fair going on today at Hog Hill," he said. "Would you care to go?" "Why don't we meet there?" said the little pig. Would 3 o'clock suit you?" "Colossal," said the wolf. 3 it is, just to make sure he would be there by 2. At 1 in the afternoon, the little pig went to the fair and had a fine time. So fine that he lost track of the hour. Suddenly, out of the corner of his eye, he saw the wolf coming up the hill. Without a minute to spare, the little pig jumped inside an empty butter churn and rolled down the hill towards the wolf. Well, the wolf was so scared, he ran all the way home. That evening, the wolf went to the little pig's house and told him how frightened he'd been by a great round thing that came down the hill. "Frightened you, did I?" said the little pig. "That great round thing was a butter churn, and I was inside." This was simply too much for the wolf to stand. "I've been nice enough," he cried. "I'm going to eat you up right now." And he climbed onto the roof. When the little pig saw this, he put a big iron pot in the fireplace and quickly stoked the fire. "Here I come," cried the wolf. "Dinner time." "You can say that again," said the little pig. And he cooked the mean old wolf and gobbled him up. 4. Okay, boys and girls, we just got done reading The 3 Little Pigs. It was a little different than most of the 3 Little Pigs that you've read, right? Well, we need to do some thinking while we're reading, and the best way to track our reading is to be able to write it down. 5. Okay, boys and girls, we just got done reading the story of The 3 Little Pigs. Now we're going to track our thinking. We're going to use what we know about story elements, about the setting, where and when the story takes place, the characters, the people, animals, or things that are in the story, the problem, what's going on in the story, what's wrong in the story, the challenge, and the solution, how the problem got solved. I'm writing down my thinking in a 4 square, something that you can do at home if you have paper and pencil after you read or listen to a story. In part 6. Okay, boys and girls, now we're going to identify the setting. The setting in the story is where the story took place. Let's think for a second. This story was actually quite a tricky one because there was a lot of different places that the story took place. The characters moved throughout the story, changing the setting each time. So what I'm going to write as the setting is the story takes place at each of the 3 Little Pigs' house. Now, now we can identify who the characters are in the story. Well, who are the characters? Well, this is pretty easy. We know we have the 3 little pigs and the big bad wolf. What was the problem in the story? I think that there's 2 problems in this story. Can you identify what the first problem might be? That's right. The first 2 little pigs kept building their houses out of things that the wolf could blow over. He would eat them. That became a problem, right? So the first problem was that the 2 little pigs kept building their house out of stuff the wolf could get them or blow down. What was the second problem? The second problem was the wolf could not get to the pig that was in the brick house. We could solve this easily. We're looking for how this problem was solved. The author tells us that. How was the first problem solved? The first problem that we noticed were that the first 2 little pigs kept building their house out of things that the wolf could blow down. So how did that problem get solved? The first problem was solved because the 3rd pig built his house out of bricks that the wolf couldn't blow down. Well, the second part of the story, our second problem in the story was the wolf couldn't get to the pig. They couldn't get to the pig that was in the brick house. How did that problem get solved? Did it get solved for the pig or did it get solved for the wolf? I think that the pig won. The pig tricked the wolf and ended up eating him. So as you can tell, in some stories, we don't always have just one problem. There was 2 in this story. Part 7. Okay, boys and girls, we've done our tracking of our thinking for the 3 little pigs. Now what I want you to do at home is go to that storyline online, pick out a book that you would like to have read to you, and see if you can find the setting, characters, problem, and solution. Grab a scratch piece of paper and see if you can track your own thinking while you're listening to the story.